Video 21, Part 18C of 25, Outputs from the Plan Communications Management Process. The purpose of this video is to develop a WBS to present the deliverables from the Plan Communications Management Process. The Plan Communications Management Process is the process in the Project Communications Management knowledge area and is related to the Planning Process Group. Please click the like button. Subscribe to my channel and share with others. Thank you. How important is the Communications Management Plan output in the Plan Communications Management process? The Communications Management Plan is not just an output of the Plan Communications Management process, it is the single most critical and essential output. The Communications Management Plan is the blueprint for all project communication. It ensures everyone knows, first, what needs to be built or what information is needed. Second, who it's being built for or who the stakeholders are. Third, how it should be built or what format, medium, and technology to use. Fourth, when it should be delivered or what frequency and schedule. Fifth, who is responsible for building it or who are the sender and the person responsible for distribution. Without this blueprint, you get chaos, misunderstandings, rework, and a very unstable project. From a formal project management standpoint, the importance of the Communications Management Plan as the output of the Plan Communications Management process can be summarized in these key points. 1. It is the actionable guide for all project communication. The plan transforms the communication strategy from an abstract concept into a practical, actionable document. It answers the who, what, when, where, how, and why of project communications, making it the go-to reference for the entire team. 2. It manages stakeholder expectations effectively. Different stakeholders have different information needs. The plan ensures that the right stakeholders get the right information at the right time and in the right format. This proactive management is crucial for maintaining stakeholder engagement and support, which is a direct determinant of project success. 3. It prevents miscommunication and reduces risks. By clearly defining communication protocols, the plan drastically reduces the risk of misunderstandings, misinformation, and missed messages. This prevents costly rework, delays, and conflicts that arise from poor communication, which is often cited as a primary cause of project failure. 4. It formally defines roles and responsibilities. The plan explicitly states, first, who is responsible for authorizing, creating, and distributing specific types of communication. Second, who is the intended audience for each communication. Third, who is responsible for escalating issues. This clarity eliminates confusion and ensures accountability. 5. It provides a baseline for performance measurement. During the manage communications and monitor communications processes, the project team uses the plan as a baseline. They can measure actual communication performance against what was planned, allowing them to identify variances and implement corrective actions if communication is breaking down. 6. It is a key component of the overall project management plan. The Communications Management Plan is a subsidiary plan of the overall Project Management Plan. It integrates with other plans, like the Stakeholder Engagement Plan, Risk Management Plan, etc., ensuring a cohesive and unified approach to managing the project. 7. The key outputs of the Communications Management Plan. To understand its importance, it's helpful to know what it contains. The output typically includes, first, stakeholder communication requirements, with the information each stakeholder needs. Second, information to be communicated, with the specific content, such as status reports and risk updates. Third, escalation processes. Defines how to handle unresolved issues. Fourth, reason for communication, with the purpose behind each communication artifact. Fifth, frequency and timing. Defines when and how often communications will occur. Sixth, sender, responsible person. Defines who originates the communication. Seventh, receiver, audience. Defines the intended recipient. 8. Method, medium. Defines the format, such as email, report, meeting, and dashboard. 9th, resources allocated. Defines the budget, tools, and people for communication activities. 10th, glossary of common terminology. Ensures a shared language. 11th, flowcharts of communication. Defines how to visualize information flows. How can a poor communication management plan output harm the plan communications management process? A poor communication management plan output doesn't just make the plan communications management process ineffective. It actively harms it and creates a cascade of negative consequences for the project. Here's how a poor output specifically harms the process and the project. 1. It renders the entire planning process a waste of resources. The plan communications management process consumes time, effort, and brainpower from the project manager and team. If the output is poor, this investment yields no return. The planning process becomes a check-the-box exercise rather than a value-adding activity. All the effort spent identifying stakeholders, analyzing their needs, and defining strategies is lost because it wasn't captured in a usable, actionable plan. 2. It creates the illusion of control and complacency. A poorly defined plan often looks good on the surface, such as we will have weekly meetings, but lacks the necessary depth. This can give the project manager and team a false sense of security, the illusion that communication is under control. They believe that because they went through the planning process, they are protected. This complacency prevents them from recognizing and addressing communication breakdowns until it's too late. 3. It directly leads to the exact problems the process aims to solve. The purpose of the plan communications management process is to promote effective and efficient information flow. A poor plan guarantees the opposite. First, instead of clarity, it creates confusion. Without clear roles, timelines, and methods, team members don't know what to communicate, to whom, or when. Second, instead of efficiency, it creates waste. Information is duplicated, sent to the wrong people, or lost entirely, leading to rework. Third, instead of alignment, it creates silos. Different groups operate with different information, leading to misaligned goals and conflicting efforts. In conclusion, the communications management plan is the very embodiment of the plan communications management process. Without this output, the process is incomplete and ineffective. It is arguably one of the most important plans in any project because it is the circulatory system that carries the lifeblood, information, to all parts of the project body. A project without a communications management plan is a project navigating in the dark. On the other hand, a poor communication management plan output doesn't just represent a failure of the plan communications management process, it becomes an active liability. It transforms a proactive, strategic process into a source of confusion, conflict, and risk. It ensures that the project's circulatory system for information is broken from the start, guaranteeing that the project will suffer from the very communication issues the process was designed to prevent. As a final message, the communications management plan is the critical output of the plan communications management process. It transforms a project's communication needs from abstract requirements into a concrete, actionable strategy. By providing a clear roadmap for who needs what information, when, and how, The plan is fundamental to preventing misunderstandings, managing stakeholder expectations, and ensuring project information flows efficiently, thereby directly contributing to project success. How important is the project management plan updates output in the plan communications management process? The project management plan updates output is critically important in the plan communications management process. It is not a minor administrative task but a fundamental mechanism for ensuring the project's overall plan remains aligned with its communication strategy. Here's a detailed breakdown of its importance. 1. It formalizes and integrates the communication strategy. The primary output of the plan communications management process is the communications management plan. This document is a component of the overall project management plan. By formally updating the project management plan to include it, first, give it authority, making it an official and approved part of the project baseline. Second, ensure consistency, as it reinforces the alignment between the communication strategy and other aspects of the project, such as scope, schedule, and stakeholders. 2. Reflects the iterative nature of project management. Projects are not static. The communication needs identified at the start of a project will almost certainly change. The updates output is the formal channel for incorporating these changes. For example, first, new stakeholders identified. As the project evolves, new stakeholders may be discovered. Updating the project management plan ensures they are included in the communication loop. Second, change in project scope or schedule. A major scope change will require a different communication strategy, such as explaining the change and new reporting requirements. The project management plan must be updated to reflect this. Third, lessons learned. If the team finds that weekly emails are being ignored but short stand-up meetings are effective, the communications management plan should be updated. And this change must be integrated into the formal project management plan. 3. Ensures other knowledge areas are informed. The communications management plan doesn't exist in a vacuum. Updating the overall project management plan ensures that other management plans are aware of and can adapt to the communication requirements as follows. First, the stakeholder engagement plan is the most directly connected. A change in the frequency or method of communication must be synchronized with the stakeholder engagement strategy. Second, regarding the resource management plan, a more complex communication plan may require more time from team members, which represents a cost or specific skills, such as those of a technical writer. Third, regarding the schedule management plan, communication activities, such as monthly reports to the steering committee or demonstrations to clients, are tasks that need to be integrated into the project schedule. Fourth, regarding the risk management plan, ineffective communication is a major project risk. Updating the project management plan ensures that communication-related risks and their mitigation strategies are properly documented and tracked. 4. Serves as a key artifact for governance and auditing. A well-maintained project management plan, including its updated communication components, is crucial for, first, accountability, as it provides a clear and auditable record of what was planned versus what was executed. Second, integration, as new team members or stakeholders can consult a single, up-to-date source of information on how the project is being managed. Third, decision-making, as project sponsors and managers can make informed decisions based on a comprehensive and up-to-date plan. How can a poor project management plan updates output harm the plan communications management process? A poor project management plan updates output doesn't just create a minor paperwork error. It actively undermines the entire plan communications management process and sets the stage for project failure. Here's how a poor project management plan update specifically harms the communication process. 1. Creates silos and misalignment. The most significant harm is the decoupling of the communication strategy from the rest of the project. For example, the communications plan specifies a major project review with all stakeholders after a key phase gate. However, the schedule management plan was not updated to include this review as a milestone or task. The team, working from the old schedule, blows right past the phase gate without holding the review, causing massive stakeholder outrage. The problem here is that the communication plan is rendered useless because it's not synchronized with the project's timeline. 2. Leads to resource shortages and burnout. Communication activities require time, people, and sometimes tools. A poor update fails to secure these resources. For example, the plan calls for a detailed monthly report that takes 16 hours to compile. The resource management plan and cost management plan were not updated to account for this effort. The project manager is now expected to produce this report on top of their existing full-time workload, leading to delays, poor quality, or burnout. The problem here is that the communication tasks become unfunded mandates, causing resentment and ensuring they are the first things to be dropped when the team is under pressure. 3. Amplifies risks and creates new ones. Ineffective communication is a major project risk. A poor update ensures this risk is not properly managed. For example, the team identifies that a key stakeholder is unresponsive. The communications plan is updated to include more frequent, personalized updates for them. However, the risk register is not updated to reflect this as a mitigation strategy for the stakeholder disengagement risk. The project sponsor remains unaware of the active risk and the steps being taken to manage it. The problem here is that the project's risk profile is artificially low, and the team doesn't get the support it needs to manage the stakeholder effectively. 4. Causes ineffective stakeholder engagement. The communications management plan and the stakeholder engagement plan are two sides of the same coin. A poor update breaks this critical link. For example, the communications plan is revised to address concerns from a newly identified, powerful stakeholder. However, the stakeholder engagement plan is not updated with new strategies to actively manage this stakeholder's expectations and influence. The problem here is that you might be informing the stakeholder, but you are not effectively engaging them. This can lead to passive agreement but active resistance later. 5. Results in rework, confusion, and conflict. When the overall plan is not the single source of truth, different team members work from different assumptions. For example, the communications plan states that all technical specifications must be communicated to the QA team 2 weeks before testing begins. The development team, however, is working from an outdated schedule management plan that doesn't include this handoff. They deliver the specs late, forcing the QA team to work overtime and delaying the project. The problem here is that this creates internal conflict, erodes trust, and introduces schedule delays due to easily avoidable rework. 6. Undermines project governance and control. A project's control mechanisms rely on a baseline plan. If the communication activities aren't in the baseline, they can't be tracked or controlled. For example, the project is falling behind schedule. During a performance review, the project manager argues that a key communication activity, like a vendor alignment workshop, is critical. However, because it was never formally integrated into the schedule baseline, the steering committee dismisses it as an optional meeting and cancels it to save time, leading to major misalignment with the vendor later. The problem here is that the project manager loses control over essential communication activities because they lack the formal authority of the integrated plan. In conclusion, updating the project management plan is not just an outcome, it's the crucial action of integration and formalization. It transforms the communications management plan from an isolated document into a living and essential part of the project's DNA. Ignoring this step creates silos within the project, misalignment, and a high risk of communication failures, which is a major cause of project failure. An inadequate update of the project management plan transforms a strategic and proactive communication plan into a meaningless document. This ensures that communication remains an afterthought, an interpersonal skill, without the essential integration into the project's schedule, budget, and resource allocation. This leads directly to the communication failures cited as a major cause of project failure. The plan exists, but the project is not managed according to it. How important is the project documents updates output in the plan communications management process? The project documents updates output is critically important in the plan communications management process. It is not a minor administrative task but a fundamental activity that ensures the communications plan is grounded in reality and integrated with the rest of the project. The communications management plan does not exist in a vacuum. It is built from and for the information contained in other key project documents. Updating those documents during the planning process ensures that all parts of the project are synchronized and that the communications plan is actionable and accurate. Let's look at the specific documents typically updated and the significance of each. 1. Project Schedule Update. The update here refers to the addition of activities related to communication, such as draft monthly steering committee report, prepare quarterly business review presentation, or schedule stakeholder feedback sessions. The importance of this lies in the following points. First, in terms of resource and time allocation, it formally allocates time and resources for communication work. Without this, creating reports and presentations is considered overhead and often gets rushed or skipped. Second, in terms of realism, it makes the communications plan realistic by acknowledging that effective communication takes time and is a scheduled part of the project work. 2. Stakeholder Register Update. The update here refers to refining stakeholder information based on the communications analysis. This could include adding more precise contact details, preferred communication channels, specific times they are available, or language preferences. The importance of this lies in the following points. First, in terms of accuracy and effectiveness. It ensures that messages actually reach the right people in the right way. An out-of-date register leads to misdirected communications and disengaged stakeholders. Second, in terms of efficiency, it prevents wasted effort by having a single, reliable source of truth for stakeholder contact information. 3. Stakeholder Engagement Plan Update. This is the most directly linked document. The communications plan is the mechanism for executing the engagement strategy. Updates here might include aligning specific communication methods, such as one-on-one meetings, with the planned engagement level, such as to move a resistant stakeholder to a neutral state. The importance of this lies in the strategic alignment. It directly connects the what, or we want this stakeholder engaged, with the how, or we will achieve it through these specific communications. This turns strategy into action. 4. Risk Register Update. The update here refers to identifying new risks related to communication, as follows. First risk. Key stakeholder does not review the critical design document within the 3-day window, causing a delay, or Second risk. Sensitive project information is inadvertently shared with the public due to an unclear distribution list. The importance of this lies in the proactive management. It forces the team to think about what could go wrong with communications and plan mitigation strategies in advance. Poor communication is a major source of project risk. How can a poor project documents updates output harm the plan communications management process? A poor project documents updates output doesn't just create minor administrative headaches. It actively undermines the entire plan communications management process, leading to communication breakdowns, stakeholder dissatisfaction, and ultimately, project failure. Here's a detailed breakdown of how a poor execution of this output causes harm. 1. Creates a disconnected and ineffective communications plan. The communications plan becomes a theoretical document, disconnected from the reality of the project. The harm here is that the plan is based on outdated or incorrect information. For example, the stakeholder register isn't updated with a key stakeholder's preference for brief, direct emails. The team continues to send them lengthy, detailed reports, causing the stakeholder to disengage and miss critical information. The communication was sent, but it wasn't effective. 2. Leads to resource misallocation and schedule conflicts. This is one of the most direct and damaging consequences. The harm here is that communication activities are not formally recognized as real work, leading to last-minute rushes, overtime, and missed deadlines. For example, the project schedule isn't updated to include the 20 hours needed to prepare the monthly stakeholder report. When the report is due, team members are pulled away from their primary tasks, causing delays in their assigned work and producing a low-quality report because it was rushed. 3. Amplifies project risks. A poor update process fails to identify and mitigate communication-related risks. The harm here is that known risks are ignored, and new risks are not captured. For example, the risk register isn't updated with the risk. The remote development team in a different time zone may not see critical alerts sent outside their working hours. This risk materializes when a critical bug is reported after their workday ends. And it isn't addressed until the next day, causing a 12-hour production outage that could have been fixed in one. 4. Erodes stakeholder trust and engagement. This is the ultimate cost of poor communication planning and execution. The harm here is that stakeholders feel ignored, uninformed, or misinformed, leading to a withdrawal of support. For example, the stakeholder engagement plan isn't updated to reflect that a key stakeholder now requires weekly check-ins instead of monthly. The stakeholder, feeling out of the loop, becomes resistant to the project and blocks a crucial approval, bringing the project to a halt. 5. Causes rework, confusion, and inefficiency. When documents are not synchronized, the team operates from different versions of the truth. The harm here is that team effort is wasted on redundant or incorrect tasks. For example, the project org chart is updated to show a new reporting structure, but the communications management plan and distribution lists are not. A team member continues to send sensitive technical documents to a manager who is no longer on the project, leading to a security breach and requiring the team to reissue all documents to the correct people. In conclusion, the project documents updates output is vitally important. It is the mechanism that transforms the communications management plan from a theoretical document into an actionable, integrated, and living part of the project management plan. It ensures that the plan is realistic, funded, scheduled, and responsive to the project's stakeholders and risks. Ignoring this output severely undermines the effectiveness of the entire communications planning process. On the other hand, A poor project documents updates output doesn't just harm the plan communications management process. It severs the vital link between the communication strategy and its practical execution. It transforms the communications management plan from a powerful, integrated management tool into a worthless piece of fiction. The plan might look perfect on paper, but without the updates to the schedule, stakeholder register, risk register, and budget, it is incapable of guiding effective communication, which is the lifeblood of any successful project. In short, failing to update project documents ensures that your communication plan will fail. This video is finished, but we will have in the next videos. 1. Creation of WBS for different projects using WBS Schedule Pro. 2. Examples of project plans using MS Project. And many more videos. Don't forget to give a thumbs up if you liked this video and want us to continue with new topics. Subscribe to the channel. All content is free. You can also comment suggesting topics you would like to see on this channel. Thank you.